Hello, this is the 149th edition of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from Doug Mitchell's book, When the Siege Has Ended, Ezekiel 5, The Judgment for the Living. Starting near the top of page 45, we read, "In the annals of church history, since the Exodus movement, the rod message is the only one which calls for just such a movement, and which exactly fits the type. See track number 8, Mount Zion at the 11th hour, and track number 9, Behold, I create all things anew. Unmistakably, therefore, the clear light shedding forth from type, from testimonies of the prophets, and from history, identify the message of the rod as the only one ordained to lead the latter-day church, freed from sin and sinners, into the land of promise when the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled." Luke 21:24. 3 answer 23. But what complicates this matter is that elsewhere he equates the time from 1850 to 1890 as being the antitypical time from the birth of Moses until he was 40 years old, when he killed the Egyptian and fled from Egypt, not to return until another 40 years later with the rod in his hand, which in the antitype he applies to the coming of the rod message in 1930. 40 years after his first attempt to deliver the children of Israel, Moses was finally sent back into Egypt and was then enabled to break the Egyptian yoke. Adding these 40 years to 1890 AD, we are brought to 1930, the year in which the Shepherd's Rod, Volume 1, was first published, declaring throughout the Seventh-day Adventist denomination that the year of my redeemed is come, the day in which the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. Isaiah 63:4-11, verse 11. So Moses' call to actually deliver Israel from Egyptian servitude coincides with the arrival of the shepherd's rod, demanding obedience to God's law, declaring the truth of the 144,000, and announcing that this is the time for their deliverance from Gentile rule. Shepherd's Rod, Track 1, page 69 and 70. Finally, Moses' arrival in Egypt and his success in freeing the Hebrew host and restoring order and religious liberty in 2513 AM coincides with the arrival of the Shepherd's Rod in 1930 AD, and with its endeavor to effect revival and reformation and to free Israel of today. Ibid 71. Purporting to be the antitype of the first Exodus, the Shepherd's Rod takes its name from Moses' rod. 1 SR, Tract 6. It's clear from those statements that many other similar ones, that he understood that the rod message was the antitype of Moses' rod that led the Israelites out of Egypt. Yet in the type, it was not Moses with the rod that led the movement that was freed from sin and sinners into the land of promise, but it was Joshua with the ark after Achan and his household perished. The thought that Ellen White was the Moses who died on the borders of the promised land, 3 answer conflicts with his teaching that the rod coming in 1930 to deliver the liver from the Egyptian servitude was the antitype of Moses and his rod. That is, if Ellen White had fulfilled the antitype of leading the church out of Egypt with the rod and then died as it neared the borders of the kingdom, then Brother Hardiff's message would not have also been the said antitype, but would have been the antitype of that which followed Moses and the rod. That being Joshua and the ark. Also, if the coming of the rod message is the antitype of Moses' return to Egypt with the rod, which it is, then it cannot also be the antitype of Joshua and the ark, for Joshua's work did not run simultaneously with Moses's, but followed after it. Bear in mind that Brother Hardiff was only announcing the coming of the new message in the Judgment for the Living, the last message. Moreover, Moses never had the privilege of leading the congregation that was freed from sin and sinners with his rod. Likewise, Brother Hardiff never had that privilege either. Furthermore, Brother Hardiff said that the leadership of the church in his day was the antitype of Pharaoh, whom Moses confronted. If the first Pharaoh makes a perfect type of the church leadership in the days of the apostles, then we must accept the last Pharaoh, who knows not Joseph, as a perfect type of the church leadership who have turned from following Christ, their leader. 1 SR 106. Take care. Thanks.